Imagine settling into bed at night, your body finally still, the day behind you, but something feels unfinished. Your joints feel stiff, your abdomen feels heavy, your body takes longer to relax than it used to. For many people over 60, evenings are when discomfort becomes most noticeable, not sharp pain, not an emergency, just that quiet tension that makes falling asleep harder than it should be. That's why castor oil keeps coming up in conversations about nighttime routines. Some swear by it, others dismiss it as old-fashioned folklore, and many ignore it entirely because they don't know what's real and what isn't. The truth sits somewhere in between. Castor oil is not a miracle remedy, but it's also not meaningless. It has specific, measurable effects that have been studied, and many exaggerated claims that have not. For seniors, the biggest problem isn't whether castor oil works. It's the mistakes people make by ignoring it completely, or by using it without understanding what it actually does. Today, we'll walk through 10 of the most common mistakes seniors make with castor oil before sleep. What the science really says, what it doesn't say, and how to think about it realistically and safely. Because when expectations match evidence, simple tools can be useful again. Let's start with what castor oil actually is and what it isn't. Castor oil comes from the seeds of the Ricinus communis plant. Its main active component is ricinoleic acid, a fatty acid that interacts with prostaglandin receptors involved in inflammation and smooth muscle activity. This is why castor oil has documented effects, and also why it can cause problems when used carelessly. With that foundation in mind, here's the first mistake. Mistake number 1. Assuming castor oil is just an old wives' remedy. Many seniors dismiss castor oil because it's associated with traditional or historical use. But several controlled studies show that ricinoleic acid has anti-inflammatory properties, similar to non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs without the same gastrointestinal risks. In studies on knee osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis, topical castor oil reduced pain and stiffness, to a degree comparable with standard NSAIDs. Ignoring castor oil entirely means ignoring a low-risk option that may help manage mild joint discomfort. Not as a replacement for medical care, but as a complementary tool. Mistake number 2, expecting castor oil to detox the body overnight. On the opposite extreme are unrealistic expectations. Claims that castor oil flushes toxins, cleanses the liver, or drains the lymphatic system during sleep are not supported by strong clinical evidence. The body already detoxifies itself through the liver, kidneys, lungs, and gut. Castor oil does not replace these systems. Believing detox myths sets people up for disappointment and misuse. Mistake number 3, believing castor oil directly improves sleep quality. Some people report sleeping better after using castor oil at night, but this doesn't mean castor oil acts as a sleep aid. There is no evidence showing direct effects on melatonin, REM sleep, or circadian rhythm. When sleep improves, it's usually indirect, less discomfort, a warming sensation, or the calming effect of a consistent bedtime routine. Understanding this prevents false expectations and keeps use grounded in reality. Mistake number 4, using castor oil orally without understanding age-related risks. Castor oil is FDA approved as a stimulant laxative. That approval comes from its ability to activate EP3 prostaglandin receptors in the intestines. But in older adults, this mechanism can cause problems. Oral use may lead to cramping, dehydration, electrolyte imbalance, and dizziness, especially at night when fluid intake is low. For most seniors, routine oral use before sleep is unnecessary and potentially risky. Topical use carries far fewer systemic effects. Mistake number 5, applying too much oil before bed. Castor oil is thick and occlusive. Applying large amounts traps heat and moisture against the skin for hours. In older skin, this increases the risk of irritation, itching, and follicle inflammation. A thin layer is enough, More oil does not mean more benefit. Gentle exposure works better than saturation. Mistake number 6. Skipping a patch test despite sensitive skin. Skin changes with age. The barrier becomes thinner. Healing slows. Reactions last longer. Yet many seniors apply castor oil to large areas without testing it first. A simple patch test, applied to a small area for 24 hours, can prevent days of irritation. This is especially important when the oil stays on overnight. Mistake number 7. Choosing low-quality or solvent-extracted oils. Not all castor oil is the same. Some products are extracted using solvents such as hexane. Trace residues may remain. Cold-pressed, hexane-free castor oil preserves ricinoleic acid content and reduces unnecessary chemical exposure. Quality matters, especially when a product stays on the skin for hours. Mistake number 8. Storing or applying castor oil from plastic containers. Castor oil is lipophilic. It can interact with certain plastics over time. This increases the risk of chemical leaching, including compounds that interfere with hormonal signaling. Glass containers are safer and more stable. It's a small detail, but one that matters with regular use. Mistake number 9. Ignoring where castor oil actually shows evidence. Because exaggerated claims dominate social media, some seniors reject castor oil entirely. That's also a mistake. Evidence is strongest for topical use in joint discomfort and inflammatory conditions, less convincing for digestion when applied topically, weak or absent for immune boosting, hair growth, or organ cleansing. Understanding where evidence exists and where it doesn't allows smarter choices. Mistake number 10. Using castor oil without considering medical conditions or medications. This is the most important point. Even natural substances can interact indirectly with medications or existing conditions. Seniors using blood thinners, diuretics, or managing cardiovascular or gastrointestinal conditions should be cautious, especially with oral use. Castor oil should never replace prescribed treatment or delay medical evaluation. Context determines safety. What evidence-based use actually looks like. For most seniors, topical evening use is the most reasonable approach. A small amount applied to a specific joint or area of discomfort. Clean, intact skin, high-quality cold-pressed oil, no excessive heat or pressure. If irritation appears, stop. Castor oil does not rebuild cartilage. It does not cleanse organs. It does not reset the body during sleep. What it can do, according to available evidence, is support comfort and reduce inflammation in specific situations. Used with realistic expectations, it can be helpful. Used with myths and assumptions, it causes confusion. If you're over 60 and curious about castor oil before sleep, the key isn't belief or dismissal. It's understanding. Because informed use avoids these 10 mistakes and allows simple tools to serve their real purpose again